All right, we are live and welcome to week 2 of Neutral Zone Reaction. I'm Jules Bergman. That over there is Brady Hannon. And let's get started.
All right. So Jules, we got big week one here. A lot of upsets, a lot of close games. I think it
Mhm.
was the most games within 4 points of any week one in history. And
It
what
was
was your takeaway? What'd you see?
it was a crazy week 1. For me, I think one of the biggest things was the AFC West actually. And we've already seen Thursday night football, but everyone's been talking and talking and talking about that division all year. I really think that it might come down to week 7 or week 18 for that. Um, the Broncos really struggle against Seattle. That's something I could not believe happened. I know you were talking the other day about the clock management. I just even with that, the whole team as a whole, just the offense did not click, and there were fumbles and there were miscues, and it was a disaster all in all.
Yeah, it did not look like they were fully prepared for the wrath of Geno Smith, who did not write back, by the way.
He did not
Uh,
write back. You're right.
did not. So I don't know. I didn't think they were ready. I thought they kind of froze in the moment. I mean, the two running back fumbles at the goal line does not help.
I know both
Um,
guys had a shot to prove that they're the guy who should get the carries,
I know they
and
both fumbled.
I know it's
It
like
looked like Jules under. It looked like Jules under pressure. I mean, it was bad. They collapsed. They fumbled the bag. I mean, also, I mean, the NFC West too is going to be interesting. Like Seattle won. What does that make them? The Niners were crapshoot. Cardinals look terrible, and the Rams look terrible. Like I don't know.
I know Seahawks are at the top of the division. Speaking of top of the division, Chicago Bears were just like that.
Chicago Bears are at the top of the division in
Uh,
from a monsoon game from Justin Fields, which was awesome. But what do you think about the 49ers right now? Like, what do you think they do?
I think that anyone who's making assumptions about the Niners is just it's too early. I am
Why?
not a Trey Lance lover. I know a whole
No
lot of
one's
people are, oh, I love Trey Lance. He's gonna be amazing. He's my MVP pick.
stop
I
that, boys. Like,
I was
okay.
I was not impressed with him before this game, and after watching him play this game, I mean, it was no quarterback is gonna play well in the rain. But
Well, it wasn't rain. It was like
yeah,
torrential
I mean
downpour.
that game
Like
was so fun to watch in the
they were
second
almost
half.
underwater by the end. Yeah.
But no, I think the 49 I don't think they're in trouble just yet. But I mean, the Bears should have been an easy win, and you give us a game in the pouring rain where it is run versus run defense. I would hope that the 49ers run defense would would stand tall there. And they didn't have a bad game on run defense, but Montgomery and Herbert were still getting the ball moved in the second half, and Fields was able to make those open throws on play action. But you've got Nick Bosa, you've got Fred Warner, you've got DeForest Buckner. No, he's on the Colts now. You've got a few guys in there, but just overall, the Bears are a game on that schedule that they should have seen and said, chalk it up as a W, and they couldn't get the job done.
I mean, I agree. And like I've said this from the beginning of the offseason, I said it last week. Trey Lance isn't ready. He's not from right as of this moment. He's not the guy. I mean, if he can fix his mechanics next offseason, come out like kind of like I know Fields and Lawrence are working through theirs and like come out and make that jump, then I think he's got a good shot to succeed. But this season, I don't think it's it for him. Said that for a while now, and yeah, like when the game was on the line, yeah, he slipped away. He slipped the bag away.
Speaking of the game on the line, if you see the screen right now for this week's featured background, we got Chris Boswell against the Bengals. Talk
Look what
about
he made of this.
kickers fumbling the bag this week.
Oh, that was terrible.
I have
29.
I have
No, there was one
never
week last year.
I have never seen a week with this bad kicking.
I don't understand kicking because like it's one thing if it's like a storm or it's soaking wet or it's -10 degrees, but when like you're in good conditions, you should never miss a kick. Like
Especially
there's got to be
considering
32 people on this earth that can just make every kick they have. Like
especially
it can't be that
considering
hard.
that it's week 1 and you have had the entire offseason to practice. I know there's jitters. I know it's like, oh, first kick of the
Yeah, but the
season.
weather's good too. This isn't December.
Exactly. It's not like
This is
your
like,
foot
and
is
when you touch on the
frozen.
Bears game, like every game was decent weather.
Mm-hmm.
There were no monsoons or snowstorms or negative weather. Like,
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like you're getting paid millions of dollars to perfect your craft, and all your craft is to kick a ball through the uprights. And also, there were quite a few snaps and holds this week, like laces in and just not
it was sloppy.
fundamentals.
It was
It's
sloppy.
it was real sloppy, and
It was almost like they didn't practice it, which doesn't make sense. So I don't know.
exactly when you get that many snaps, it's not a matter of placing it in one spot or the other. It's like you're gonna have that muscle memory, and you should be snapping it to the same place every time. If you've been a long snapper and you've been long snapping for what how these guys are between 21 and 40 years old. Like you have
Yeah,
been no long snapping the same ball to the same spot for your whole life. And
yeah,
punters have two jobs: punt the ball and hold the ball.
yeah.
And
Like no, like
for there
yeah,
to
like
be
last
that
night we
many
got
times,
like last night in our high school game, there was not a single bad snap and hold out of like 10, and we're in high school. Like, the fact that the pros get paid millions and can't do it is just
yeah,
unfathomable.
well, Shooter McPherson had his shot the other day twice, and I could not believe that Mr. Automatic couldn't put one
I know,
in when it counted.
I know. And yeah,
Speaking of,
speaking
I
of that,
told you, I told you that Steelers game was going to be close. You're lucky I didn't pick them during Vic's picks last week, but I really knew it. I really thought they were going to have a close game, and you're like, oh, Bengals are just going to walk away with it, easy money.
I did not predict Joe Burrow to have 5 turnovers and almost win the game. I'm sorry.
Does that concern you? His turnovers?
I mean, yeah. Like, if you look at Joe Burrow last year, he was really, really good for the last like 2 games of the season, the playoffs. He was he was just like decent before that. You know what I mean? Like he's got it, but like I feel like people overestimate his talent. Like, yes, his talent's out of this world, but he's not like a top 5 quarterback in terms of talent. Like, I'd make the argument like Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, guys like that are more talented than Joe Burrow, even though Joe Burrow mentally is probably the best in the game. But like when you're getting sacked, you're under pressure, like, and you don't think, you just go. Like, that talent is what saves Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray over and over and over again. And I
I
like,
mean, but before I address it, can you move your computer screen down a little so your head's in the middle?
ooh, wow, he's like that.
I
Okay.
know I'm like that. There we go. Anyway,
Let's see, represent.
SSC Stevenson football number 17.
All right, let's go.
I think Joe Burrow is that guy. I think last year he also started the year a little rocky. I mean, the Bears beat him. And didn't the Jets beat them last year too? It's
The
just
Jets. Well, that was his. They put up 31 points and lost to the Jets.
yeah, but Joe Burrow, I'm not concerned
That was a
about the
Mike White game.
interceptions.
I mean, last year Joe Burrow was coming off a torn ACL after a COVID season, which is an excuse. I mean, he just didn't look good. He just made dumb throws that game. Like,
I'm just not worried though. Joe Burrow's gonna keep balling out the whole rest of the season, and everyone's gonna have a bad game or two. And maybe the Steelers
I think,
threw him a different
I think
formation
he's
they
gonna
haven't
ball
seen.
out. But people put him in like the top 3 quarterback category after that Super Bowl, and I don't think he's a top 3 quarterback. I think
Oh,
he's like top
I don't
7,
either.
top 7, 8.
It's got to be Mahomes and Josh Allen, and then
Mahomes, Allen,
probably Herbert at
Herbert,
3, or
Robert,
Rodgers.
Rogers.
Rodgers at 3
Yeah, yeah,
actually. Well,
they're all ahead. Those are top 4.
about Rodgers, we've got our wish granted to us, right? The Bears getting to be on primetime football in Green Bay again.
They do that every year.
They
The
do it
schedule
every
makers
year.
put the Bears on primetime in Lambeau just to watch them get smoked in front of the
It's
basketball.
sickening. It's
It's every
sickening.
year.
Every single year it happens, and we just never can escape it.
No, it's terrible. It's like a trap. It's like the national media just loves to hate the Bears. Like,
Especially
even this
since
week, everyone thinks the game's a fluke. Like, both teams played in the same conditions. Like, the
especially
Bears are
since it's week 2. Like we know that these past couple of years Rodgers has really struggled in week 1 and the offense hasn't
because he doesn't
clicked.
because he's doing who knows what in the offseason. But yeah.
And, well, he's doing psychedelic drugs in the offseason.
Exactly.
But, we have to get him week 2, and they have to throw us on national TV. It's just, like, really?
Yeah, because the Vikings were the gonna-be good team with the exciting offense that had to be week 1 to feature against poor Rodgers.
The
But then
Vikings?
they're like, oh, we need our former MVP to look good. So we're going to go against the Bears in primetime week 2 where we can smoke them for 5 touchdowns.
The Vikings look great.
The Vikings look good. I don't think great's the right word.
Stop it.
Let me explain.
Stop it.
What was the score at halftime?
It was like, I don't know, 20-0 or something.
What was the final score of the game?
I think it was 23-7. But
Yeah.
But
they
also took it way more conservative the second half. Like,
of course they took it more conservative.
Yeah, but they performed so well.
Let me talk. Okay. The Rams, do you think the Rams script plays?
The Rams?
Yeah, they script plays, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sean McVay, he's smarter than everyone. They're going to script plays. You think Kevin O'Connell's going to do the same thing with Kirk, a limited athlete? Of course they are. The first half was scripted, and Kirk went off. But in the second half, they scored 3 points. I'm not saying it's a cause for concern, but people are counting the Vikings an NFC champion after one good half. And I don't think that's right.
Well, I think they proved what they needed to prove, and then they just had to hold it down.
But I think they proved what we need to prove. But I think the fact that they only scored 3 points in the second half, I don't think that means that they're like, if they went and won 34-0 or 34-10 or whatever the score was, could have been, then that's different. But they stepped off the gas in the second half. And that's what the Packers – have you noticed the Packers do that too? The Packers will go up on like the Jaguars 17-3 at half, step off the gas and win the game 21-24.
I don't really know what you're referring to there because the Packers seem to blow out the bad teams.
But what happens when the Packers play good teams and they let them hang around and then Rodgers just play from behind? I'm just saying that if the Vikings are going to get conservative play calling because of Kirk, that's going to hurt them when they get to the playoffs or face another good team down the road. Like, I don't know what good team in the division they're going to face, but there's some good AFC teams I've heard. So,
you can say all your concerns about the Vikings. I don't think the second half even needs to be talked about.
Okay, so let's move on from Jules' opinion. So, bold week 2 predictions. Jules, what you got?
Week 2 predictions. We knew Kansas City and Las Vegas was going to be a good game. We knew there's going to be a couple other good games. But I think the Jaguars are going to make it a close game, and I hate to say that because I know they're the worst team in the league, but the Colts just lost Pittman.
Jules, that's not the Colts are favored by 3 points. Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. That's not a bold prediction.
Okay, true. Well,
Okay, well, I'll go then.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me think about this.
Capable of hard things. I think the Giants are going to come out at home. I think they're going to steamroll the Panthers. I think they're going to win by double digits. I think Baker's going to kind of struggle. I think they're going to come out sound. I think Daniel Jones is going to take that momentum and keep handing it off to Saquon. I think Saquon's going to keep going off. And I think the Giants win something like 24-10 or something. Like, I'm not saying they're going to put up 40, but I think the Giants win easily against the Panthers this week.
I don't know how to think about that because
picking the Giants to win in the first place is a hot take, but
I was so colossally surprised last week by the Giants beating the Titans,
especially when they were down 13 in the second half. I thought it was way over.
There is no way. Like, if I am the Titans management, this is a little extreme, but I'm saying Vrabel's on the hot seat already.
Vrabel is not on the hot seat. Vrabel's a phenomenal coach.
I know he's a great coach, but after watching that game and, being in Tennessee, it's the only local game they have on in the afternoon. After watching how pitiful that offense was and how the defense just totally lost it in the second half.
Because the front office traded away their best wide receiver.
Well, then fire the GM.
And they have a B+ quarterback.
Then fire the GM.
You can't win with Ryan. You're not going to win playoff games or in big games with Ryan Tannehill.
You know, some people were talking
It
about
is what it
Malik
is.
Willis getting to play this year. After watching that game, Malik Willis is going into the starting lineup by week 8.
Okay, that's fine with me. I think they have a better chance. He's more dynamic than Tannehill. He can run. He's got a bigger arm.
He is, but if the Titans keep losing, Vrabel's gonna be more and more on the hot seat.
Titans need an offensive coordinator. Their offense is terrible.
I mean,
It runs through Derrick Henry. When Derrick Henry gets stuffed, then they can't account for it.
I think that hit by Tay Crowder on Derrick Henry. You know what I'm talking about?
I did not watch the game.
No, it was
I'm
on
just
like
probably
highlights
watching
and
it.
stuff. Tay Crowder laid the boom on Derrick Henry, and I think that was that was a good snap. That was the snap and the flick of the switch that completely is going to end the Titans' little mini, we made the playoffs dynasty of making the playoffs and doing nothing with it, or doing little with it. Well, they made it to the championship game once, but you know what I mean. I think that the end of the Titans' reign, at the end of the King's reign, King Henry is in sight. I would not be at all surprised if they trade him next year
King
and
Henry.
try and get some value out of him before the Titans have to
I
rebuild.
mean, running backs are a dying market in the league. Like,
I
they
mean,
just are.
they could even trade him this year, which would be shocking. But I wouldn't. It's not out of sight if they keep losing to these crappy teams.
I don't know. What else you got, Jules?
Um, let's talk about the Bills. Let's talk about the Bills a little bit.
The Bills. Okay.
The
What do we think
Bills,
about the Bills?
the Bills put on one of the most not flawless because they had
They're
their
not
fumbles
close to
and
flawless.
James Cook. Oh no, they
Your
had
rookie
their
of the year pick, James Cook.
they had their
Jules loves James Cook.
they had a few struggles,
A few struggles.
but
Yeah,
the
they did.
Bills looked so dominant. That game on Thursday night last week just so solidified every single NFL fan thought of, damn, the Bills are insane. I don't
So
see
what's
them
your take?
losing. Hold on. Let's see. Let's take a look at the Bills schedule right now. And I know they lost to the Jaguars last year, and that was like a fluke. The Bills face the Titans, win. The Dolphins could be a good game. The Ravens, Steelers, Chiefs, Packers. Those are all pretty good opponents. I still won't be surprised if they're undefeated after that.
Really? You think they're going to go through that gauntlet undefeated?
I think they get through that gauntlet undefeated. I think it's a little hot of a take, but
A little bit. Dude, my
but
computer
the
is on fire.
Bills they've completely convinced me. They'll end up losing some fluke game at the back half of the year against like the Lions or the Browns or the
I
Vikings
think
or
the
Jets.
Ravens are going to beat them.
Or what'd you say?
I think the Ravens will beat them in that stretch.
I just don't see
The Ravens are
anyone
so.
beating
The
this
Ravens are
Bills
going to be
team right
so
now.
good this
They
year.
look like such a complete team. You know they did that all against the Rams without Tre'Davious White.
Okay, that's one corner.
That's the best corner that's one of the top 5 corners in the entire NFL.
Okay, you saw Jalen Ramsey, a top one corner in the NFL, get toasted for 60 minutes. So
Yes, but that's also because the Bills are the Bills. The Bills are
if you say
insane.
so.
I think they get through that gauntlet undefeated. Now, then
I
they're going to lose this week now that I said that, and it'll be completely
who do they
wrong.
play? All right, if you say so, Jules. But I don't know, Chief.
What do you think about the Cowboys right now?
One of my takes, I think the Cowboys get held under 10 points this week.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all either.
Who
They're
do they
so
play
done.
again? I don't even know who they play. I don't really care. They're going to get. Oh, they play the Bengals. Whoo, they're going to get whipped. Joe Burrow's going to have 5 touchdowns, probably no turnovers. He might have 150 rushing yards on top of that, too.
I've got Mixon scoring a touchdown this week in my little anytime touchdown parlays.
But that's cute, Jules. But,
let's get to a fan question real quick, reverting back to the Giants real quick. Francesco is wondering, is Saquon officially back to his rookie form? Thoughts?
oh, I'm going?
Yeah, I asked you the question.
I mean, what do you deem official?
I mean,
I'm not gonna.
is he back? Is Saquon officially back
He's
to
back.
exactly how he was his rookie year?
No, because it's not his rookie year. It's his like fourth year
No,
in the league.
you
I mean,
know what
I'm
I
not saying
mean, like skill wise and talent and being that guy.
I mean, I'm gonna go with yes. I'm not gonna go in front of the city of New York and say Saquon is back. But dude, Saquon's a cyborg, bro. He's insane. They're finally giving him the ball. They're getting him in space. And I mean, like, from an athletic standpoint, from a talent standpoint, there's no one like him. I mean, I think talent wise, Saquon's the most talented running back in the league from pure athleticism and talent.
You say he's the most talented in the whole league?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, Chief. There's a lot of talented running backs.
I think the combination of his speed, size, power, catching ability, I don't know if there's anyone better. And I think if he's back and that offense is rolling, that's big because we know Danny Dimes is probably worth about a couple dimes. And that was bad, but
All right,
that's not what
let's
you're
do another fan question if you wanna ask me one of them.
No, you got it.
Thanks.
You never sent me the fan questions.
Well, I want to address the Dolphins. We got a question about the Dolphins.
The Dolphins are overhyped.
Do the Dolphins make the playoffs this year? Is Charlie's question. You say they're overhyped. Why is that?
Well, one, they do make the playoffs because they play the Patriots and the Jets 4 games out of the year. They're overhyped because the Patriots have a failed defensive coordinator calling offensive plays. That's like having a Madden play caller go call college football. Doesn't make sense. So the Patriots are piss poor offensively. Mac Jones looked like a rag doll out there. He had no shot. And I mean, like, what was the question? I lost my train of thought.
Do the Dolphins make the playoffs?
Yeah. I mean, yes, they do because they don't have a very difficult schedule. They're going to get steamrolled by the Bills twice, and that's about it. But like, people are like, "Oh, Tua's great now." Like, they scored 13 points on offense. I don't want to be that guy. Like, Justin Fields scored more in a monsoon than the Dolphins scored the whole game.
Yeah, but Bill Belichick's always going to put a solid defense out there.
Of course he will, but the Bears were playing against a monsoon and the 49ers defense. I'm just saying, like Tua has had Belichick's name in the past. And Mike McDaniels, I like him. I like the Dolphins' skill positions. But besides that one ball to Jalen Waddle, if they don't get that, they win the game 13-7. Like, against a breaking Patriots team. Like, I don't know, dude. They seem like a team that's going to get into the wild card at 10-7 and just get blown out by someone much better.
And I am going to disagree with you.
Of course you will. You're Jules.
I think the Dolphins not only make the playoffs, but I think they're a team to be feared.
You think they're fearful?
I think the Dolphins
I'm looking
are
over at my board
you
over
do
here.
not want to face. That's why I look at that Bills schedule, and out of that gauntlet, the Dolphins are the only game there that I really see could go flip of a coin, even though the Bills crushed them last year. The Dolphins this year, that Waddle Hill combo is just it's just going to be too much for defenses, in my opinion. They don't have to score a ton of points, and they've got a lot of young guys on defense who are studs. Javon Holland, that safety, he's a baller.
6 teams right now.
What was that?
I can name 6 teams in the AFC that would pound the Dolphins in the playoffs.
I don't know about. I think they could be a dark horse candidate to do some damage because
I mean, if they win a wild card game, I'm not going to go burn a house down. But I mean,
if Tua gets it together, at least enough.
That hasn't gotten together in 3 years. Tua is a slightly above average NFL starter.
That defense is so good, though.
He doesn't have a super strong arm. He's accurate. He's a worse Drew Brees. Like, he's not bad, but you're not going to go to a Super Bowl or make a deep playoff run with Tua. It's just not going to happen.
Tua. If Tua is solid enough, I think that defense carries them to
the defense isn't
a lot of wins this year. I think they make the playoffs, Charlie.
Matt Patricia was calling the what?
I was saying Charlie's question. I do think they make the playoffs.
I do think they make the playoffs, but I don't think they go deep in the playoffs.
Well, you already said they're overrated. I think
They're overrated.
where they're rated right now is a middle of the pack team.
No, right now they're rated as most exciting. Okay, that's fair. Right now they're rated as like I was gonna say most exciting team in football, which they are very exciting, but like people are claiming that like they're gonna. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna go deep at all.
Okay. Well, here's another fan question we got to this week from Frankie. Which 2021 playoff team had the most concerning week 1?
It's got to be the Packers, right?
No, I don't
The
think so.
Bengals, you think?
I'm saying the Titans 100%, which we already talked about. Are
Yeah,
you really
probably.
that concerned about the Packers, though?
No, I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not. Like, if I was not a Bears fan, I'd probably be like, "Oh, the Packers suck," but we're gonna get blown out next week and tomorrow night, so I can't say anything confidently.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Packers. They'll be just fine. Their defense is pretty
I'm
good.
also concerned about. I'm also concerned about the Cardinals.
Really?
The Cardinals looked bad against the Chiefs. Like
They did.
they looked bad.
Well, here's the question here.
The game wasn't close either. It wasn't like a 21-31 game or something that the Chiefs blew it open at the end. It was a blowout through and through.
Well, here's the thing. We've had 2 games to see the Chiefs now. Were the Cardinals really bad, or were the Chiefs just really, really good?
I think it's some of both. I mean, Chiefs Chargers is a divisional game. The Chargers have an absolutely loaded defense.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loaded. Like, what do the Cardinals have? Like, Kyler's I don't know if he's overrated at this point in his career, but he's like,
No,
he's good.
I think he's rated right, but just overrated by GMs who are throwing 200 some million at him.
That's what I'm saying. The Cardinals are trapped because in this day and age, it's so hard to find a quarterback that they have to pay him. But if you're paying that much to Kyler and you can't support him, he's not good. He's not like good enough like Mahomes or Josh Allen to carry your team into the playoffs.
I agree with you.
I think if Trey Lance struggles and the 49ers are a 500 team somehow and the Seahawks are what we think the Seahawks are going to be, I think they could sneak into the wild card.
And I think the Cardinals are missing Chandler Jones too. That presence on the pass rush.
I mean, Cliff Kingsbury is a terrible coach.
Mahomes looked like he had the easiest time throwing on that defense ever. It was just non-existent coverage and non-existent pass rush.
It was bad. I mean, did JJ Watt play?
I don't think so. I don't think JJ played.
If he played, he wasn't fully healthy, but still, that's not a 33-year-old or whatever JJ Watt is going to make that difference.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So should we move on to this week in Vegas?
Sure. Let's go to actually, you want to do this week in Vegas first, or do you want to talk some college football first?
Let's do some college football.
All right. One sec. Let me pull that up.
I want to talk about my playoff predictions.
College football play. Well, we've had 2 weeks now, and they're in the middle of week 3. Here we go. Oh, I think it was already on the screen. Okay. So we're in Neyland Stadium, as we should be. The greatest place on earth. Which I'll be at sold out Neyland tonight. Go Vols, of course. But who is your college football playoff looking like?
Don't they play some like piss poor team tonight?
Oh yeah, we play Akron. It's a 47 point. We're 47 point favorites, but I'm pretty sure we're checkering next week against Florida, which should be sick.
Cool. Okay. Well, coming at number 4, you're gonna like this one. I think Tennessee sneaks in.
Oh, stop it!
Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face. No shot. All right. I do have a surprise at number 4 though, but I'm gonna start at number 1. I think Georgia wins the SEC, and I think they get the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah, easily. I think that's the consensus.
And then I think we can agree Michigan or Ohio State. One of them is going to win out most likely and make the playoffs, right?
So which one?
I think Michigan. I think Ohio State has looked rusty. I think CJ Stroud has been overrated. I think JJ McCarthy's good, and I think Michigan is going to steamroll whoever they play. And I think they're going to get the 2 seed.
I also think JJ McCarthy's good, and I also think Michigan is going to get the 2 seed.
Ooh, well, you think?
All right, keep going.
And then I think at 3 is going to be Bama. I think Bama's going to lose to Georgia eventually. I don't know if they'll lose any other games, but they barely beat Texas. They did not look like the dominant Bama team that we know and love or hate. But
Yeah. I was gonna mention with that Bama game, they had the most penalties under Nick Saban in that game.
really, oh, I
Yeah,
remember that.
that was the most
And
penalties
Texas
they've
looked good
had in a
that game.
single
Sark
game.
had that prepared. Texas looked very good in that game. They're defensively.
Texas did look good. It's too
They
bad
beat
Quinn
them.
Ewers was injured because they would
If
have won
Quinn
that
Person,
game.
that's what everyone's saying. Yeah,
And you
but
know what? I don't have Bama at number 3. Um, I think they could
you have
sneak.
Georgia, Michigan at 1-2.
I have Georgia, Michigan at 1-2.
All right.
I would have had Ohio State, but I've got Ohio State sneaking in as the 4
Really?
because
So who's
I
at 3?
think Bama after Bama loses to Georgia in Bama's got an easy rest of the schedule. I think they win out until the SEC championship, and then I think they lose to Georgia and get steamrolled. And I think that's going to kick them out of the top 4 because people have seen this game against Texas and they've seen Bama just. I don't think they have as many weapons this year. And I think Ohio State could sneak in over Bama in the 4 seed and have Bama at the 5.
So who's your 3 seed?
My 3 seed is the USC Trojans.
That's my 4 seed. Damn.
I think Caleb Williams is just gonna tear up the Pac-12. They have no possible answer for him.
I was gonna say I don't think anyone's gonna stop USC. Their toughest game by far is Utah, and I think they're gonna beat Utah. And I don't think anyone else is gonna stop them. And if you're coming out of a Power 5 conference undefeated, you're making the playoffs.
If Utah beats them, you think there's any shot that any Pac-12 team makes the top 4?
No, absolutely zero. There's no way they put a 1-loss Utah team in the playoffs.
True.
Considering Utah is a team of 3 stars, and they're well coached, they have good culture, but that's what they are. There's no shot they put a 1 unless Utah goes undefeated. They're not making the playoffs. A USC loss to Utah would easily kick them out of the playoffs, especially considering they're the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, I'm not sure who comes in. I think maybe Oklahoma State, considering their schedule, could make a run.
They could. They've got what's his name? Sanders. He's real good.
Yeah, he's good.
I'm pretty sure he's the Heisman favorite right now.
They have a good defense too. I'm trying to think who else is in that top 5.
The top 5 right now.
Yeah.
It is Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, Oklahoma, USC, Oklahoma State, Kentucky, and Arkansas. That rounds out the top 10. Clemson is so.
Clemson's not good. Clemson's going to drop probably to 20 by the end of the year.
Oklahoma is going to lose to probably Oklahoma State.
Also, I think if that 4 spot opens up, I think Arkansas has a shot. Arkansas is
Give me a break.
What are you hating on Arkansas for?
I'm not hating Arkansas, but Arkansas is not a playoff-worthy team. Is
Utah a playoff-worthy team? And you ask that
there
question.
Is no way that they make it through. Here's their upcoming games. All right, and they beat Cincinnati, which was a good win. They beat South Carolina, who is just getting steamrolled right now by Georgia.
What's the score of that game?
Right now?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Just keep talking.
The score is 45-0 Georgia. That's the score right now of that game.
Okay, see, you want to know something funny?
What?
The spread of that game was 25.
So
I had a one of those promo bets, so I was gonna place on it, but the game just started, so it was locked, so I wasn't able to.
Wow, that's a brutal scene.
I know.
Anyway, Arkansas after this week against Missouri State, they play Texas A&M, home against Alabama, at Mississippi State, at BYU, at Auburn, home against Liberty, home against LSU, home against Ole Miss, at Missouri. There is a 0% chance. I would put $300 that they don't go undefeated. I mean, it's a lock.
Wait, sorry, can you say that last part one more time? The last 3 teams?
The last 3 are LSU, Ole Miss, and at Missouri.
Yeah, that Ole Miss game is going to be fun to watch.
I mean,
wasn't it
last year it was 52-51.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Arkansas is a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they're not a playoff team. There's no
Fair.
way they sneak in there.
All right. So, who's been your biggest disappointment this year? Who do you think is going to end up as the biggest disappointment this year?
My biggest disappointment.
If you steal my team, I'm going to lose my mind.
You're probably gonna say Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame was ever that good. It's got
That's
to be
not what
Nebraska. Is that who you were gonna say?
It's not, but I'm not going to argue with
Nebraska.
you. They did let Georgia Southern put a 45 on them the other week.
Yeah, they lose to Georgia Southern. They lose to Northwestern.
They're getting blown out by Oklahoma
They're getting
right now.
pounded by Oklahoma. I mean,
And Oklahoma's a shell of what they were a couple years ago.
I feel so bad for Nebraska fans that Scott Frost has just completely not been the answer whatsoever.
Oh my gosh, they're down 49-7 in the third quarter.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's
That's
serious.
horrible. Yeah, they've got. I mean, they've got
Also,
Dakotas. They've got
Michigan's up
Dakotas
45-0
Crawford on that team, and he's the only bright spot.
Oh my god, they're losing 49-7,
Yes,
and they're about to punt.
they're bad.
I can't believe that was an 11-point spread that game.
But yeah, Nebraska just is not showing out this year, and it's going to be at least 3 more years. It's going to be at least 3 more years till they're competitive again. Who's your underperforming team?
Oregon's been an underperforming team ever since Justin Herbert left, and I thought they were going to lose to I thought they were going to lose to Georgia the first game, and they didn't look bad. They looked like a high school team went into a college stadium trying to play.
They looked like Bishop Sycamore.
They looked worse than Bishop. Actually, no, there's no worse than Bishop Sycamore. They looked bad, though. I mean, I don't think Bo Nix is it. I think Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler are very similar players. Highly recruited, highly talented, but just don't put it together. I think Bo Nix is too reckless.
Yeah, but Bo Nix is a veteran of college football. He's been playing for years now, and he's never been that guy. He's had like every once in a while has a crazy game, and then it's like, oh my gosh, Bo Nix is insane, and then he sucks again.
I watched his first game at Auburn. They played Oregon, I believe, and he threw a game-winning touchdown pass.
You know, Tennessee stole Nico Iamaleava from Oregon. He was like, everyone thought he was going to go to Oregon, and now he's a Vol. So they don't have a good quarterback coming in for the next few years. They might start struggling. You know, I've always liked Oregon football. They were the only team I really enjoyed watching back then, with like DeAnthony Thomas and Mariota and all of that. I have a DeAnthony Thomas jersey, but I didn't have it on this week. I don't know about that as your most disappointing team though. Like everyone's gonna get crushed by Georgia, and then they put up 70 last week, didn't they?
Who they play last? Did they play like an FCS school last week?
Yeah, they did, but I don't know if you can say most disappointing already.
I mean, Utah put up 73 last week. You think Utah is a great offense?
I mean, Utah is a pretty good team.
Yeah, they're a good team, but like they're not like, you wouldn't say they're a top 15 offense in the country, would you?
No.
And they put up 73, so I'm just saying I don't think Oregon's it this year.
I don't either. I agree with you there.
I think I don't know who they play, but I think if they play USC, Utah, they're going to get steamrolled.
Well, USC is probably going to beat everyone. Speaking of USC, did you see for UCLA? Did you see their empty stadium the other day?
That was funny. That's got to be embarrassing though for a school as big as UCLA to just.
Future Big Ten school just has like no fans there. It was atrocious.
It was sad.
Who's your overperforming team?
I mean, I have USC, but
okay, fair enough. Well, are they really overperforming? I feel like people knew they were going to be good.
People thought UNC would crack at the top 25. No one thought they would be this good this fast.
Fair enough, I guess.
Did anyone predict USC to be a top 10 team but 2 weeks in? No.
I'm rethinking now about Alabama versus Ohio State for the 4 seed.
Yeah, I don't think a 1-loss Alabama gets in over a 1-loss Ohio. I think a 1-loss Alabama gets in over a 1-loss Ohio State any day of the week.
Yeah, what? It depends. Yeah, I guess I'll throw Alabama in there. Well,
it'll be calculated. All right, so moving
I'll
on to
throw him in there.
since Jules was clearly very confident and calculated, let's move on to this week in Vegas.
Okay, let's roll this week in Vegas. Oh, title screen, of course. This week in Vegas, we both were 1-2 last week. A brutal
Yeah, some tough
performance from both
losses.
sides. I mean, my Eagles almost covered. They won by 3.
Yeah, the Titans did not cover. The Falcons, which you made fun of, did cover though. It's the
Yeah.
Saints.
Well, the Chargers covered for me. Thank goodness. But who do you have this week? Who's your first team to cover?
Might be the one I'm most confident. I think it might be a little higher now, but the Bengals are a touchdown favorite against the Cowboys. I don't see the Cowboys putting more than 10 points. I don't see the Bengals not scoring more after Joey B is pissed off. I mean, I know I said earlier he's not the most talented quarterback in the league, but mentally he's going to be set. He's going to be ready to pick apart that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Cowboys are not good in any phase of the game right now besides Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Micah's a beast.
Their secondary has been decent at best. Their pass rush besides Micah is very little. Linebackers besides Micah, not anything special. Their O-line struggles. Dak struggled. Cooper Rush is going to be like.
You know, it's funny. It's funny now how last week you were talking about how the Cowboys were not that bad and how the Eagles weren't going to run away with the division. And here you are saying, oh, everything except Micah Parsons is bad. They're bad here. They're bad there. They're bad there.
I didn't think the Cowboys were going to be that bad. I thought the O-line was going to play better, and I thought I can't talk. I thought people would step up on CeeDee Lamb, and I was wrong. I'll admit that. Cowboys are going to suck. I also don't think the Eagles are – I still don't think the Eagles are going to run away with the division, though, because considering they beat the Lions by only 3, I think their defense is a cause for concern.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles will be good. I don't think they're going to be a 14-3 team that some people think can run away with it. What about your first pick?
My first pick is – hold on, I'm trying to see the stat on this. My first pick is the Seahawks plus 9.5 at the 49ers. And I'm trying to look up right now. I saw a stat the other day. I think Geno Smith has now covered in like just here's the stat. He's 9-0 against the spread in his past 9 starts.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's big.
He's just that guy. They wrote him off and he didn't write back.
Exactly. Hey,
Geno,
write back. Good things happen.
Geno and the Seahawks. You know, the Seahawks defense really impressed me. I thought they would be just a terrible defense. And sure enough, they held that Broncos offense pretty stagnant during the game. 9.5 is too many points. I think the 49ers win that game. I think they win it by 2 or 3 or 4 points.
Yeah, it's a division game. It's going to stay close. There's bad weather coming.
Exactly. Trey Lance is just not there yet.
Yeah, I agree with that
you tell me that Geno's covered every game he's played since 8 years ago. Hell yeah, I'm back in Geno and the Seahawks.
All right, that's fair.
All right, what's your second pick?
I got the Bills minus 10 on Monday night.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to stand by that. I think the Titans look bad. The Bills win in blowout fashion, and I think they're going to – considering the Giants put up 21 points, I think the Bills put up 41. I don't think it stays that close. I think the Titans struggle to move the ball. I think Josh Allen goes full cyborg mode, and I think the Bills win the game easily.
I also think the Bills win the game easily. And yeah, I don't think that's a bad pick at all. I think it's a pretty good selection. The only question is, will the Bills be able to contain Derrick Henry? Because last year they played against the Titans on Monday Night Football as well, and I had to play against Derrick Henry in fantasy, which I remember, and Derrick Henry ran all over them. So that's my only concern, but I think it's a pretty good pick overall.
All right. What's your next pick?
My next pick is another underdog pick. The Steelers plus 2.5. I don't know how they're the underdog. I don't see any way the Patriots are going to be better than them this game. The Steelers impressed me last week, and the Patriots simply did not. The Steelers are the home team, I believe. Let me check on that real quick. Yeah, Steelers are the home team. Mac has been sick all week. He's gonna play, but who knows if his body is ready to face the Steelers. I know they're not gonna have TJ Watt, but they still have a pretty dang solid defense. And I don't know why they're 2.5 point dogs, but give me the Steelers.
I like that pick. Yeah, I think TJ Watt's going to make a difference, though. But at the same time, Mac Jones not being 100%, their play caller being about 3%.
Man, you just hate these Patriot play callers.
Matt Patricia's a terrible coach. I don't understand it. I don't know how you can make a defensive coordinator a play caller.
Yeah, I guess so.
Waffles, man.
What's your final pick for this week in Vegas?
I kind of hinted at this as my bold prediction, but I got the Giants -2 against the Panthers.
You did say that.
I don't think the Panthers are that good. I think the Giants are not that good either. But the Giants are home. Saquon's rolling. They got a ton of momentum off last week, and Cade York sunk the Panthers. And
True, he was the one good kicker last week.
He was the one
the rookie.
Kicker. And I think that the Giants get it done. I think they win the game, and I think they win it relatively easily.
I think it'd be funny if the Giants win that game by 1, just so that it doesn't cover for you. I think it's too much of a toss-up game for me to really like that pick. I still am not sold on the Giants. I think the Titans really just dropped the ball last week. I still don't think the Giants are a good team. Saquon is very good, but now opposing teams know, like, all right, this guy is kind of back. So let's make a game plan around him. Because if you see
the Giants were game planning to stop week 1, I think they're going after Darius Slayton and Kadarius Toney, the Giants' third string receivers, to shut them down. No.
I think they thought that the Giants were going to have more of a passing attack because the running attack.
Danny Dimes?
Yes, Danny Dimes has historically started seasons throwing the ball a lot. If you saw last year, wasn't he the number 2 fantasy quarterback through 3 or 4 weeks?
I doubt.
He was.
Some of the Giants didn't really win games or score points last year.
They did in the first few weeks. They didn't win, but they were a pass-heavy offense last year to start the season. And they bring in Brian Dable, who, for the Bills, I mean, they were not at all run offense last year. They were pass first every time. I think Saquon's really good, but maybe the Titans were not game planning for such a run-heavy attack because that's really not what Brian Dable has shown before. If the Panthers are going to have more of a grip on what to expect this game, and I think this game is still a toss-up. I'm not as confident as you are about the Giants this week. I mean, you saw us last week talking so much about how horrible the Giants were. And
hey, they changed my mind, okay? I saw them in the second half of that game. They changed my mind.
Okay, fair enough.
On the road, too. All right, who do you think has your third and final pick of the week?
My final pick this week is the Browns. -6.5 against the New York Jets. I don't know why the Jets insist on sticking with Joe Flacco at quarterback, unless there's some news that
59 passes with him last week.
Is there any news I haven't heard saying that Joe Flacco is not, that it's going to be Mike White or something?
According to reports, Joe Flacco is likely to throw less than 59 passes this week.
Oh, no way, bro.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, the Jets were just a complete train wreck last week. I don't know what they were thinking putting Flacco out on that field. He's like 39 now.
He's 39. He's immobile.
He's immobile. We've seen Mike White. That man can play. So there's just like, what are you doing, Robert Saleh? What are you doing? The Browns defense showed up last week. I did not expect them to beat the Panthers. None of us did. All three of us, us two and Vic. And for our viewers watching, Vic is going to hopefully be on the show this week. His tech wasn't working either. We had to switch a few things over, but from the last stream till now. And as you can see, there's no crazy camera issues on here like we had last week. But the Browns 6.5 point favorites. I think they win by a touchdown easily. I think the running attack is not going to be stopped. You put Chubb and Hunt on that field, the Jets are not stopping them, and
All right.
it'll be a simple win for the Browns.
All right. That's fair. Not going to argue that. I think that's a lot of points to give Jacoby Brissett-led offense, but
All right, well, that just about wraps it up, but let's look at one more fan question we have this week.
all right.
We had a question we had two more questions. First off, from Mickey. Are the Bears Super Bowl contenders yet?
Well, Mickey, I hate to break it to you, but they are not Super Bowl contenders, unfortunately.
Don't let Fields get hot.
Do not let Fields get hot.
The Floose juice.
Do not let the Floose loose.
Don't let the Floose loose, and don't drink too much of the Floose juice.
And do not let Fields get hot. But besides that, they have probably a bottom 5 roster at this point. I like their coaching staff. I like Fields. I like Mooney. I like Monty. I like Komet. I don't like much else. I like some of their rookies, but the Bears are a few years away.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're going to be competitive. I think they're going to put up fights. I think Fields is going to be fun to watch. But they're not Super Bowl bound, unfortunately.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to have to, unfortunately say the same thing. But if we beat Green Bay, don't look now. But the Arlington Chicago Bears, don't let them get hot. Don't let them
get hot. Do not let the Floose loose.
Do not let the Floose loose, and do not drink too much of the Floose juice. And that is going to do it for Neutral Zone Reaction episode 2. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching.